So if we think about how kids figure out what to guess in the input, there are clues in the actual linguistic input itself. So it turns out known words, so in this case, if the child at 19 months, say, knows the verb crying, they can use it to figure out unknown words. So here's a sample test scenario coming from this series of studies in 2014 and 2018. And so you might have this funky object, which does not look very animate, versus this cute little guy who looks pretty animate. You say, look here, right? And then there's a flash of just like abstract stuff. The Dax is crying, right? And so if they know that crying is a verb and crying is a thing, a type of action that only animate things can do, like this little guy, look at this and you say the Dax is crying. They're like, well, you must be talking about this guy because that thing is not capable of crying. They use the known word crying. They know that it requires an animate agent to figure out that the Dax must be this guy that you're talking about. So they're using that known word to figure out the unknown word Dax. Now, interestingly, it's not until many, many months later, like 3 years old, 36 months, that children can use known adjectives the same way, like hungry, which is kind of interesting, right? So you have this thing kind of set up. You have a cute little animate guy and an inanimate thing. You say, look here, and then you have this abstract art. The LARP is hungry. Now, as far as we know, and generally true, children know this, only animate things can experience hunger. Only animate things can be hungry. So in the same way that they use crying, you would think, oh, they should be able to use hungry to figure out that you're talking about this guy and not this thing. But only at 36 months did they actually seem able to use hungry in the same way to figure out the the LARP must be this guy, right? So there's some delay. But at both 19 and 24 months, basically the number of verbs that kids know predicts their ability to use known verbs to learn novel nouns. The more verbs you know, the easier it is for you to use those verbs to help you figure out nouny words in your language.